Welcome back. It's now time for business here on France 24, and I'm joined for that again by William Edwards from the business desk. Good morning again, William.
Hi, Catherine.
Okay, so talking about Italy now, where Mario Monti has been trying to push the reforms to the labour market, but that's proving trickier than maybe he first thought, isn't it?
Perhaps it is, yeah. Mario Monti, of course, a technocrat, not technically elected as a politician. He replaced Silvio Berlusconi back in November. He has had quite a reformist first 100 days, but now it seems like things are slowing down. He's trying to get labour market reforms through, the idea being to make hiring and, of course, firing easier. That has angered the unions and others, including politicians and employers. Let's take a look at the details.
Jump-starting Italy's economy by reforming the labour market. That's the goal of Italian Prime Minister Mario Monti.
We must concentrate on measures to have Italy grow more and faster. And we believe that although the short-term impact of these structural reforms may be nil or negative, this is really removing the structural impediments to Italian growth.
The road ahead is not without a few bumps. In a country where the unemployment rate hovers around 10%, 32% of those under 25 can't find a job. Monti's hoping to make it easier to hire and fire, a plan that's provoked the outrage of both labor unions and business lobbies. To restore growth and create jobs, the reform proposes widespread unemployment benefits for all workers, not just ones on permanent contracts. Learning contracts will be honored, and Article 18 is to be amended, making it easier to dismiss workers. The Prime Minister has promised to defend these reforms at any cost. Monti says he's willing to resort to a confidence vote in order to get it passed. Italy's main labor unions calling for a general strike in May.
So very difficult times there for Italy's Prime Minister. Still in the Eurozone, things not looking much easier in Portugal or Spain either.
Yeah, firstly, Portugal, of course, that country has already received a bailout from the IMF and the EU. The IMF has given its latest report. It says it's still confident that the bailout is large enough and that Portugal will be able to borrow on the markets by 2013, as was the plan. But we are, interestingly enough, seeing some doubts creeping in even to the IMF's report on the issue. They say there's a risk that the current recession could be bigger than anticipated, and if so, that could create additional problems. It would mean that perhaps even deficit cutting, making spending cuts, might not be the best policy, it says. It's the first kind of sort of acknowledgement that from the EU and the IMF that cutting might be bad for growth, and there might have to be another option. Spain also seeing worries over its bond prices too.
OK, well, on the back of that news, let's see how the markets are doing.
Well, the US, let's take a look at that first, how that closed on Thursday. Ended mixed despite good news on the jobs market, jobs data. New unemployment claims continued their downward trend, but those worries about the Spanish bond prices did weigh on the market somewhat. Meanwhile, in Asia, it's, well, a similar sort of story, really, trending downwards as well, apart from the Shanghai Composite, which is managing to be in the plus. The Nikkei particularly, that's down 0.6% because the dollar is weakening against the yen, which is causes worries for Japan's exporters.
All right. Now, we've been hearing about difficulties in the European labour market, lots of high unemployment in several countries, William. But here in France, there is one industry which is struggling to get new recruits. Winemakers in Beaujolais are searching for a younger generation. Mark Edwards has this report.
It's been his home for the last 5 years, a vineyard in the Beaujolais region of France famous for its eponymous wine. Paul-Henri wasn't put off by the difficult economic climate or by the supposed poor reputation of the Beaujolais Nouveau. At 26, he abandoned his studies in finance to try his hand at growing wine. Above all, he wanted to drag the sullied name of the Beaujolais out of the mud and reclaim its status as a fine wine.
The thing about Beaujolais is that it's known all over the world, yet it's a small region, a tiny region, a region where great wines can be produced. Even though certain things have been said about the wine historically, when you come to the vineyards here, you realize they're completely false. You can make fruity wines, full of character, and also full of quality.
The real problem is the dearth of youngsters developing wines. Young winemakers like Paul-Henri are few and far between in Beaujolais. The region saw 9 wine growers retire, with only 1 picking up the mantle. The average age is now over 50, and there's a real urgency in ensuring a robust succession.
In its head, the Beaujolais is doing rather well. It's growing. The issue with succession in youth is one which is seen in all jobs. The younger generations will come when they start sensing the dynamism and vibrancy here which is spreading. All jobs evolve. All jobs have difficulties, but when people come back to them, then the youth will remain.
If you fancy getting to grips with the grapes, do be warned. To succeed will take a lot of hard work. The ability to make wine, but also to sell it. And above all, to not be scared of diversifying and branching out into white wine, rosé and bubbly, or even wine tourism.
All right, now, William, the French oil giant Total is still struggling to bring under control a leaking oil platform in the North Sea. What's the latest on that situation?
Yeah, well, they've now had inspectors finally go to visit the platform for the first time since a gas leak was detected there on March the 25th. It is, of course, very dangerous as that gas is thought is flammable, and so even approaching it is risky. Any spark could set things off. They've cut off the electricity, obviously. There's a plan to block the well by pumping in mud at high pressure, while at the same time drilling 2 relief wells as a kind of backup plan. It is a pretty similar plan was used for the Deepwater Horizon oil rig in 2010. Now, of course, that was a massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. Here, there are fewer worries about the environmental impact because it is gas, although Greenpeace are monitoring the area at the moment. It's costing Total around €2 million a day in lost production, it's thought.
OK, so expensive and potentially damaging there. Thanks very much, William Edwards, there for that business news roundup. Do stay tuned to France 24. We're going to have the latest international news headlines coming up in just a few minutes' time.
Live from our studio, a debate on the subject of the day with experts, newsmakers and observers. For political or economical issues and questioning society, join us for analysis and in-depth talk. The Debate, Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. Paris time on France 24.
knows the more of our world we see, the richer we become. Fly Emirates. Hello, tomorrow.